Hello and welcome to another Royal Reviewer episode, and today it is the 1st of January 2023, so I really hope that you had an amazing and fantastic New Year's Eve, and obviously we are all looking forward to ahead to a new year. Hello Bo, he's come to join. This is Bo, my cat, if you didn't know. He's just shot off. So hello and welcome to another video. Today's format is a little bit different. Normally, I much prefer to do live streams, but I did want to do a pre-recorded video so that I could show you certain bits of information. I can insert it to either side of me, whichever side works. So yeah, I just wanted to kick off this year by just reflecting on what happened slightly on the 31st of December before we move on to talking about the new year. So as many of you may know, the former ex-Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI did pass away, and King Charles, like many other world leaders and monarchs, sent a message of condolence. And I did post that on the community page of the Royal Reviewer channel, so if you haven't seen that, I'll insert it on the screen and I will read it to you. So the royal family tweeted, "The King has sent a message of condolence to Pope Francis following the death of Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI. And it reads, "Your Holiness, I received the news of the death of your predecessor, Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI, with deep sadness. I remember with fondness my meeting with His Holiness during my visit to the Vatican in 2009. His visit to the United Kingdom in 2010 was important in strengthening the relations between the Holy See and the United Kingdom. I also recall his constant efforts to promote peace and goodwill to all people and to strengthen the relationship between the global Anglican Communion and the Roman Catholic Church. My wife and I send you our continued good wishes for your own pontificate. Signed, Charles R." So there we have it, and I thought that was a really nice message just to kind of put out there, a message of condolence, and yeah, very much a continuation of what Queen Elizabeth would have done had she still been a reigning monarch. It is a pretty standard thing to do, but still it was a very heartfelt message, I think, especially with in relation to recalling an actual visit that did happen in 2010. And that's one thing to remember about King Charles III, is that he has been on the world stage for a very long time. I did say it in my Christmas message that he does offer a very familial face on a world stage. We already know him. He already knows many of the world leaders, including those of the clergy from all different backgrounds and whatever church you might be from. He really does. He's interested in being, I suppose, defender of faiths, even though he will be crowned with being defender of the faith. I don't think that is going to change. Okay, let's move on to something else that happened, that was posted last night, and that is the King's Piper. Now, one thing I didn't speak about in previous chats is that the King's Piper has been retained. She formerly the Queen's Piper. Now, Queen Victoria started a tradition where a Scottish piper dressed in the kilt and the pipes would actually play or pipe music at Balmoral, and she loved it so much. She liked being awoken to the sound of bagpipes. I think I'd quite like to be awoken to the sound of bagpipes too. And she got so used to it and so accustomed to it that she actually employed her piper to come back to London, to Buckingham Palace, and continue piping. And that became a tradition that was maintained by successive monarchs as far as the late Queen Elizabeth. And people were kind of wondering, I mean, this was, I suppose, a wondering at the very back of people's minds, but people were wondering whether these sorts of traditions would continue under Charles. And it seems that Charles does indeed like to be piped up in the mornings, because the piper was seen outside royal residences rather recently, and we've just had the video posted actually 17 hours ago as I'm reading this now. The royal family tweeted, "As we say goodbye to 2022, the King's Piper plays Auld Lang Syne at Buckingham Palace, wishing all our followers a very happy and healthy 2023." And I will play that beautiful piping music right now. So I normally introduce what kind of jewellery I'm wearing. So today I am actually wearing a replica of Queen Victoria's bow brooch. So that's a really, really nice one. I just think it's really a nice special one. And it is I think the bow brooches are quite festive. So I've worn that today. By the way, we will be taking the Christmas tree down very, very soon. I know you're supposed to keep it up until 12th night, which I think is the 5th or the 6th of January, but I am kind of getting a little bit tired of it now. So I'm thinking it might come down very, very soon. Also, tiara, I am wearing the lotus flower tiara. Now, this was, I suppose, it's more recently worn, of course, by the Princess of Wales. And of course, with Princess of Wales, from now on in, I will be referring to Princess of Wales. I do mean Catherine, I do mean Kate, not Diana. So the Princess of Wales does wear the lotus flower tiara. She's been seen wearing it at many state banquets. She, of course, interchanges her tiara wearing with the Cambridge Lovers Knot tiara that was worn previously by Princess Diana, the former Princess of Wales. This is just a really nice tiara, and it was formerly worn before Catherine by Princess Margaret. This was one of the tiaras that she used to wear. So I just thought that was a really nice one, and I will pop it on my head whilst I continue. So what is next on my list? Right, Meghan is there's been some rumours that Meghan might be penning or planning to publish her own book of memoirs. Now, bearing in mind we haven't even had Prince Harry's memoirs out yet. It is due to be released. Now, I have actually cancelled the book. Obviously, it's called Spare, and I did have it on pre-order. And I've been umming and ahhing about whether or not I even want to read it, to be quite honest. And I just know, exactly the same with the Netflix documentary, that anything that's punchy, all the juicy details, will be published in the media. So, do I feel like I want to buy the book and then spend time reading it when really everything is telling me that although we don't know what's going to be in it, I think we can almost anticipate what might be in it. And I just think it's going to be a lot of moaning and a lot of whinging. And of course, I say this based on what we've seen already from the Oprah interview, from the what's come out of the Netflix documentary. Moaning and whinging from a very, very, very extremely the most privileged person. Members of the royal family have an immense amount of privilege, and I just don't think that, especially with all the hard economic times when people are choosing between heating and eating, that I want to see a very privileged individual moaning and whinging about his life of immense privilege, that is still giving him everything that he's got. We know that Meghan earned her own money prior to marrying into the royal family, and of course, Meghan arguably was probably one of the most wealthy royal brides to come to the royal family, at least in recent years. Anyway, recent generations. So she was independently wealthy. But of course, all of Harry's money has come from from being who he is, from being in the privileged position which he was born into. And even now, let's just say Harry had never, ever, ever been a member of the royal family. Probably would never have met Meghan. She probably wouldn't have even looked at him twice. And everything that they're making now, post leaving the royal family, is off the back of leaving the royal family. Would the interest have been there had they not been um, in the royal family? Would anyone have been interested in a podcast on the level that they were from Meghan, for example, if Meghan hadn't married into the royal family? She was a successful actress, but where was her career going? We know that she sort of had that summer break to come and see where her career was going to go next. But anyway, I have cancelled the book, and I will just be reading about it like everyone else. And of course, I will comment on all the snippets and things that come out of it. But with regards to Meghan potentially penning a book, I think that really they need to look around and see what people are saying already about the Netflix documentary, how people are looking back on the Oprah documentary, and I think people are a little bit sick and fed up, like I am. A lot of people are feeling the way that I am. That the whinging and moaning. Just move on, just literally move on. Draw a line under it. You've done what you've done. You've moved away. You've been seeking and you are fulfilling a life of independence. But do that away as far as you can, away from earning that money off the back of a family and an institution which you are harpooning. It just doesn't kind of make any sense, other than that they really want to make money. So with regards to Meghan having a book, I just think they need to really think about that, and what that might look like. How many people are actually moving away from them? I think there's already reports that in America, people's support of them is cooling down. Certainly in the UK, I would say it's pretty cold towards them at the moment. People are not looking back fondly upon how they left and the fact that and what they would and the Oprah interview at a time when Prince Philip was actually dying. They recorded that whilst he was in hospital, and then everything sort of leading up to, of course, the Queen's own demise. And the royal family obviously knew that she was declining over the past year at least. Of course, the severity of that remains kind of unknown at the moment. But Harry and Meghan continued to do what they were doing when they could have just backed off and got on with their lives and carried on with projects as they felt fit. But anyway, that's that. So I just would like to say that it is rumours at the moment. Apparently, they have a 4-book deal, and I think they've, depending on whether or not Meghan's bench book counts as one of them, they have potentially got a couple of books left to fulfill. And people are wondering whether or not, of course, one of those will be Meghan's memoirs. I think one of them is going to be a wellness book. Then we've had Prince Harry's book. I think the bench comes into it, and then obviously potentially a memoir. So that's where those rumours have come from. Again, it's all about choices. It's not about whether or not you have the right to say something. Of course you do. I'm a great believer in freedom of speech, as you know. They have the right to say whatever they want to say. It's whether or not it's a good choice. And, from their point of view, from their marketing point of view, they need to look at how saturated they have been and, are the public fed up of them? I think in a poll in the UK, Meghan and Harry were on a list of one of the most people that, people are tired of, they're bored of, and they don't really want to see anymore. So, they need to look around and perhaps read the room a little. So whether or not that will come to fruition, we do not know, but we wait with bated breath. Okay, the next thing on my list is Sarah, Duchess of York, of course, formerly the Duchess of York, ex-wife of Prince Andrew, the Duke of York. She posted a very touching message on her Instagram account. A picture of the Queen in a beautiful yellow outfit, and she posted a little poem that she'd written as well. We assume that it was written by Sarah, and it's a tribute to the late Queen. And it reads, "We will miss you, dearest friend, September the 19th, 2022, which of course is the date of the Queen's passing. As the primroses appear on the banks of Windsor, so clear, new beginnings, new paths, new rainbows to see. You are tucked in our hearts, even though apart. So welcome 2023, knowing you are free. Happy New Year." And that got a lot of likes, 35,443 likes as of me reading that message. So I thought that was lovely, and it shows the very close bond, I think, that Sarah still had with the Queen. Last year, I think the Queen, Sarah, was invited for Christmas, but this year she was actually invited to the dinner table, and that marks a really big change. I suppose in Sarah's acceptance back into the family, I think she already was accepted by the Queen, but now that the Queen is gone and Philip as well, I think Charles is really ready to embrace her, just the same, as he's embracing and finding room in the castles at Christmas and these special occasions for Camilla's children and grandchildren. I think that has also been extended to Sarah. We do still see Prince Andrew on the very fringes of family royal life, but he is still very much a part of it. We did see him on Christmas Day in the background. So again, another line I think pretty clearly drawn by King Charles, that Prince Andrew is definitely at the moment out of royal life in terms of being a working royal, but he is still a part of the family, and Sarah most definitely is a part of that as well. In 2023, will we see potentially Andrew and Sarah getting remarried? I don't know. Could that be a move that Andrew and Sarah could potentially be planning, or will they just continue as they have been? Yeah, who knows? Who absolutely knows? As the most, I think, happily unmarried couple, as Sarah once described themselves as. Okay, King Charles's coronation. There was a story that appeared, and it quickly kind of vanished off the pages. So I think it's a complete load of nonsense, and I know it's a load of nonsense. But I just wanted to mention it, that certain people have been trying to put out there, and I think this is one of those stories that definitely is untrue, but once it's out there, once it's been published, other people might try and regurgitate it and make out that it's true. So I wanted to kind of squash it, and that is that King Charles's coronation would be invalid. Therefore, obviously, his very being a sovereign would become invalid because of his divorce to Diana and then remarrying a divorced woman, Camilla. Or rather, yeah, he remarried a divorced woman, Camilla. This is untrue because at the time, well, no, it's true that there has never been a crowned king that has been divorced, and that queen was a divorced woman herself. That has never happened, so that's very true. But in terms of the marriage being invalid in the church, that is not true. At the time, in 2005, of Charles's marriage to Camilla, the Church of England formally recognised it. So Charles did not get married in a church. He got married in a registry office and then had a blessing ceremony in the church. But the wedding was formally recognised, therefore recognised as being valid, recognised as being legal. So any speculation that it would be considered invalid is incorrect, I'm afraid. So I think we should move on from that one. The New Year's fireworks tributes to the late Queen. So as part of the big London display of fireworks last night, and they were very amazing, we did see the fireworks touching on things to look forward to, things that have happened this past year. One of them being, of course, the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. And there was a nice moving tribute and some words, obviously the audio of the Queen, some of the Queen's messages. And there was also a good use of drones. So the drones were lighting up the sky and they formed a nice kind of picture of the new king's head in side profile, which I thought was quite nice. So it looked to the past and it was always looking to the future as well. So I thought that was a really nice firework tribute. If I can find some pictures of that, I will put that in. Okay, will the Sussexes attend the coronation? Apparently, Charles has extended an open invite to all royal family, kind of private family occasions. And of course, the coronation is a state occasion, but it's also one for family members to attend as well. And apparently, an invitation, is there. Whether it's gone out or not, I don't know. But apparently, Charles is accepting Harry and Meghan at the coronation. If this is true, then of course what we will be waiting for is whether or not Harry and Meghan accept the invitation to come, because obviously they have, if they're given an invitation, they have several options. They could either refuse to go or turn down the invitation. They could say they were busy, they could say they got prior commitments, or they could just simply say that they are not going. That of course would send a message that that they are holding a grudge, which again may not go down very, very well. If they do go to the coronation, that is almost saying that they are, I suppose, that they want to be seen at these kind of big royal family events when they've just been spending the last 2 to 3 years harpooning the royal family and everything that that institution stands for. So how would that look? Would that look good? Would it not look good? So I think they have a very clear choice. I think King Charles has, and possibly Prince William too, has played a bit of a blinder with this kind of open invitation because I don't think the Sussexes can win either way. Which if they stay away, they aren't going to win, and I think if they go, they're also going to get criticism. So I think it has put Harry and Meghan between a rock and a hard place. So from the royal family's point of view, considering that Harry and Meghan have spent, the last few years harpooning them, again, we don't know what's coming up in the spare book. We don't know whether or not Meghan is going to pen her own. So who knows? Harry and Meghan, sources close to Harry and Meghan have indicated that once the book is out, Harry's book, that then they will start to try and concentrate on healing. Well, I think personally, and I think a lot of people think and feel, that they should have been concentrating on the healing process as soon as they left Britain, not after they've made all the money from it. I think that doesn't really sound very good, does it? But anyway, will they attend? Won't they attend? That is a matter for the future. There are also people talking that the Queen consort Camilla has already chosen what crown she might be wearing. She's sourced her mantle, her cloak. I would imagine a new one will have had to have been made, probably with faux ermine. I would imagine any new robes would be faux ermine. And she's found her dress. Now, of course, a lot of people will be wondering and focusing on what dress she will wear. It will likely be a kind of white dress, possibly with emblems sewn into it of the nations that make up the UK. So I imagine it will be quite a patriotic number. Definitely not in the white, blue, and red of the Union Jack flag. But no, I do think it will be kind of a white with probably with lots of detail in it, lots of emblems, lots of symbolism, because of course that is what a coronation is about. Also, I'm two minds about what crown she's chosen to wear. Again, the consort's crown that Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, wore when she was coronated alongside her husband George VI. That has the Koh-i-Noor diamond, which has questionable, I suppose, links. Whether or not that will be worn and the stone replaced, who knows? But apparently she's chosen something. Some people are saying it will be the George IV diadem. I'm not so sure because it's not a crown, it's a diadem. And, you can't be, in my mind at least, crowned with something that's not a crown. It's a diadem. So, what's she chosen? We don't know. Or as I've said in a previous video, it could even be a former crown where the template is still there but doesn't have diamonds in. Could they be using a former template, alter it, and then fill it with diamonds? Whether it be diamonds they already have or diamonds that are rented, who knows? Because back in the day, monarchs did used to rent jewels for coronations. There is rumoured to be a UK tour quite early on in the new year. So that means all of the UK nations would expect some kind of a visit from Charles and Camilla. I think that would be a very nice way to introduce themselves now that the dust has settled from obviously the late Queen's passing, to introduce themselves, I suppose, on a national scale, but also to the world. Similarly, I can't say that word. You try saying that word 3 times very fast. Also, there's going to be, we think, a state visit, an overseas state trip for Charles and Camilla. We don't know what country. I'm imagining it will be a Commonwealth country, so possibly Australia, possibly Canada. I know we've already had a Canadian visit from William and Catherine, but I do most definitely think that it will be a Commonwealth country, first and foremost, I think. But we will see. It is, of course, at the request of the British government that these state visits do actually happen. Royal household changes is, I think, the last thing that I wanted to touch on. So, of course, a new monarch, new reign, new royal household. Of course, Charles will have already have had his existing household as the Prince of Wales, formerly. And of course, they have all amalgamated. There was quite a lot of staff changes in the new reign. Quite a few people, I think only a few days, there was rumours that it was only a few days after the Queen's passing that quite a lot of her core staff were made redundant, including Angela Kelly, her dressmaker and curator of the royal jewels. She apparently has been frozen out. Apparently the locks were changed on the royal apartments. She still does have a Grace and Favour home, which she has not been forced out of. And as far as we're aware, she hasn't left that home. There's rumours that she's writing a book about her memoirs. Again, what could be in there, we do not know. And also, will a book talking about the Queen be well received in pretty much the same way, Harry and Meghan with their books? But then again, what tone would it be? I imagine Angela Kelly's book would be, very, very favourable. But again, is it right for a former member of staff so close to the Queen to pen a book that could be quite revealing about Her Majesty, Her late Majesty? So again, it's all about choices. It's all about freedom of speech, although Angela Kelly has the right to say it, and it would be quite interesting to know all those details. Is it the right choice to do it? All about choices. It's not about the freedom to do it. It's about the choice to do it. Again, we will wait and see. She already has published some books. However, they were with the Queen's permission. So, it is even within the realm of possibility that the Queen gave her consent for Angela to do this before she passed away. So again, we're going to have to wait and see on that score. Some of the Queen's former members of staff that were quite personal and close to her. Tall Paul Wybrew, you may have heard of him. He was the tall one, called Paul. And Terry Pendry, the Queen's groom, were offered by Charles to stay on, but they have actually chosen to retire. I think they pretty much decided that things are very, very different and they just want to retire, basically. So it's sad to see them go. Charles did want them to stay, but they have, alas, gone. And of course, we did lose one of the, I suppose they were known as the ladies in waiting. They are now known as the Queen's Companions, and we did lose one of them. A lot of them, I think, well, no, the Queen, the new Queen, Queen Camilla, has got her own companions made up of, I think, completely new companions. But the King Charles did retain some of the Queen's, former Queen's ladies in waiting. One of them being, of course, Lady Susan Hussey, who resigned from her post following the racial fallout with someone who visited the palace, who was at a reception hosted by Queen Camilla called Ngozi Fulani, and she had an altercation with Lady Susan Hussey. She posted a tweet about it, Ngozi Fulani, and it went viral. And of course, there was a whole incident, and it resulted in Lady Susan Hussey resigning. So yeah, there's been quite a lot of change within the royal household, and I don't expect there to be much more change, great change over the next year. I think things will kind of settle down as time goes on, and that concludes today's pre-recorded video. So if you've enjoyed it, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share it on social media, and of course, do hit the bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. So from me, to you all, and goodbye.